Sunday the 5th of February and I've just arrived at the allotment. It's 10:45. Had a bit of a lie-in this morning. I was up all night YouTubing how to repair this other diesel heater. So the first thing I'm going to do is check my little experiment and see how that's doing. Well, the lights are still on. The voltage is still nice at 5. Drawing between 1 and 1.6 and 3 for whatever reason, it's fluctuating. And as you can see, we've used half of that battery, so it's almost 24 hours running on this little battery bank. And so we can say you're going to get 2 full days approximately out of this. That is quite remarkable. Now that's on the lowest setting, obviously. So if you will go up the next level, there's like 4 levels I think. But yeah, you would use power accordingly. But I am absolutely amazed this has lasted almost a full 24 hours, and even more amazed that it's only used half of the battery bank. I thought it would have been out, to be honest. I thought the lights would have been out. So yeah, that's an idea. You're going to get roughly 2 days out of a battery. But well, this one's, I think this is 3,200 milliamps. This particular one. It's quite a thick one. But like I said, if you put this onto a 12-volt car battery with a USB converter, you're going to get weeks out of it, basically. And that's probably the way to go. But this was just a little test to see how efficient even a battery bank would be. Another thing that's just, well, it doesn't just occur to me, but regarding our little experiment with the grow lights out there, I'd said yesterday about the solar charge controllers, and hopefully you'll be able to see this. So you can possibly see at the moment this is on a trickle charge, and it's pulling out 0.16 of an amp, thereabouts. And the design of these is, once it knows your battery is absolutely full, it will turn off the power from the solar panel to the battery. However, if you've got a constant draw on it, like I have with this one, which controls this, okay, if you plugged your battery bank into the USB socket on these, in effect you will be charging the USB battery bank from this. And because you're taking a little bit of power and the lights are only drawing 0.2 of an amp, most USB chargers deliver 2.5 amps. You're going to be putting more in than you're taking out. It's one of those rare occasions. So, technically, by just simply charging your battery bank through the USB controller, you are taking power from here to charge it. And because the solar charger sees there is a drain on the battery, it will continue to let your solar panel charge this battery. Through the night, when there's no daylight, this will continue to charge your battery bank. And in the morning, the solar controller will recognise you've used some energy out of here and will give as much as it can from the daylight you have available to start charging this back up again. Good morning and welcome back to Allotment. It's the 11th of February, the start of 10 days off from work. Let's hope and get some weather so we can get something done. Right, so very briefly, from the last video that you've seen, the diesel heater eventually went back. Ludicrous. So they did accept the return, and I've got a replacement, a different model altogether, and that's what I'm going to be doing today, is fitting that in there. Now, you've seen on one of the last videos that our last old dog Molly passed away. Both Molly and Echo were rescue dogs we rescued some 12 years ago. One was a problem dog, the other one was a ready-made dog. It didn't make any difference. We still kept them both. They both came from the same rescue centre, but not from the same household. They were from different households. And so yeah, we had them 12 years and they had a fantastic life together. We couldn't pick between the two, and there was only two in the rescue centre, so we took both of them. Glutton for punishment. Echo actually decided that when we bought a brand new sofa for £900 that he would prefer it in bits the following day, and that's exactly what he done. Less than 24 hours, he ripped it to shreds. We went back to having a leather sofa and he didn't bother it. He didn't like the Drail en Suite. So, for what it's worth. Anyways, what I'm actually coming to now is Mrs. C was beside herself and could not bear being in the house without having a dog walking behind us or snuggled up on the sofa. So Tony had found a puppy on the internet which was relatively local, from a farm, a reputable breeder, and needless to say we ended up with one. And he has one blue eye and one brown eye, and he's a lurcher collie cross. Now the lurcher lines apparently is from really good lines. That's insignificant to us. And the collie side is from one of the best farm dogs from intelligence point of view in the Cumbrian area. He was rather expensive, but that wasn't the issue for Mrs. C. She just wanted another pet, and so we now have a new puppy, 16 weeks old, called Blue. And he's so intelligent it's unbelievable. We had him house trained, fully house trained, in 2 days flat. And he's fully house trained. He's already obeying commands like leave, sit, and he actually takes himself outside to clean himself. Absolutely fantastic. You couldn't wish for more. Gorgeous little dog, and yeah, needless to say, we're very happy. I'll shut up babbling for now and we'll crack on. Right, I've saved you the pain of the unboxing of the new diesel heater. This is a totally different one, and I'm going to go over what I like and what I don't like about this particular one, if there is anything. So the first thing is, it seems to come with the correct manual this time. I haven't read it, but at least the picture matches the model. The second thing that I really like right away is these quick snap clips, which let you get the cover on and off. It's 4 clips, 2 on each side. You pull down the clips and you lift off the cover for maintenance. So I really like that feature. Now then, on inspection, the machine is damaged. In transit, this is supposed to be flat, but that's easily straightened out. As you can see, the other foot is completely flat to the table, like it should be. And they have 2 screw holes if you wish to screw these down. But because I want to keep this portable, I won't be screwing it down. The difference on this one is it comes with 2 standard twist nuts to attach your wire. It's not permanently wired. The thing I like here is that the pump is angled on the correct angle, and they've put it on the back plate and it runs at the correct angle. The bottom hose is the generic green hose, but they have already done the mod on this one with the tubing and the hard plastic fuel line down and underneath that runs to the underside of this. But as you can see, they've scrimped on about a 3-inch length. That is such a sharp angle being brought up. However, the rubber bit is flexible, But for the sake of another 3 inches, 2 to 3 inches, you can see how very quickly this drops off. And there's a bend. But because it's hard, then it doesn't actually kink like the green stuff. And you can probably see there is actually, if it'll focus, there's actually a little bit of fuel in here, and it did say that they were tested prior to shipment. So that was something else that attracted me to this particular model, okay? And I think it's by a company called Trick Licks. Yeah, it's on the box, I think. Yeah, let's have a look at the box. Yeah, Trick Licks. But you can see this is how the diesel heater arrived, with a damaged on the bottom of the box. Now then, something I noticed is the mounting plate that this sits on. I don't know if you can see this, but it bends like that. Now I don't know if that is the design or whether that should be elevated slightly higher, but the fan does line up with the air hole at the back, so I'm thinking it maybe is part of the design with this slight bevel which gives them the alignment on this. So we'll know when we come to fit the exhaust and the air line out. The other thing I like about this that I noticed right away was this one also has a cutout in the back for your air hose to come out, and you can run it up the back of the machine, and there's a fixing nut here to secure it with the filter on the top. It appears to be a smaller tank, but I think it is still 5 litres. I'm not sure whether we'll cram that into that. It might be slightly on, it's maybe only 4 litres this one. Metal plates separating the heater from the fuel. And remember, diesel has to be up to a significant temperature before it can ignite, so there isn't really any danger of this getting too hot or igniting. It needs to be in that burn chamber to ignite. It comes with all the usuals. This one in particular comes with 2 outlet hoses and sorry about the sniffing guys, I'm loaded up, and your air intake and all your gubbins and cables and jubilee clips, nuts and bolts, etc. This particular model has 4 outlets rather than 1, sorry, but they are much smaller than the other ones, obviously, for obvious reasons. And I got this one because you can always buy some more of these pipes and add them. And they come with 2, and I'm assuming what you're supposed to do is cut these in half. It gives you the 4, and you can bend all of these in different directions. And that's probably what I will do. We don't need to have them that long, so I'll probably end up cutting it. That's fully stretched, but we end up cutting these in half, so I've got 4 pipes out and we can flex where we want the heat. So, right, without further ado, we'll get this up on the bench and we'll get it assembled. I'm also going to set it up with the water barrel, so it'll be a while before I come back to you guys. Right, here we have a rain barrel cut down. Yes, it's plastic, but we're using this initially as a test, which should be okay, but if it isn't, we'll modify it. We just want to do the test initially. And what we've done is we've used my most used tool on the allotment, which is the battery grinder. I don't know what I'd have done without this particular tool, and every week I find a use for it. And now what we also have is a planter. We fill with compost and we'll find somewhere for that. It's not staying there, of course, I've just cut it off, that's all. So this already has a tap on, so we can get the hot water out, or warm water if we need it. And we'll need to put a hole in the top for water in from the rain barrels outside, and then of course we'll need to put one in the bottom feeding the exhaust outside. So I'll crack on with that and I'll bring you back when we're finished. Right, I'm starting to prepare the barrel now. So this barrel here came to me courtesy of my brother Don. They were surplus to requirement, and this is just one of 2. So because it is plastic, what we've done is I've wrapped the exhaust in fiberglass heat-proof material first, where it actually goes out of the outlet, and then we're starting to seal with the epoxy resin, and they come in little capsules. You unwrap them and then you just squash them all together, and you keep on mixing it with your fingers until you get the colour all one colour, and then it's just like a putty, and then you force it in the gaps. And as you can see, I've forced it through and it's coming through onto the outside, and then we'll wrap the outside as well, and we should get a watertight seal on this. Right, so far so good. So we're doing a test on the diesel heater. This isn't the permanent pipe that's staying in here, this is a test pipe. You can probably hear that. Lots of nice warm air coming out of here now. It's just fired up. It took 2 goes to get going, because obviously the first time was to prime through, and I've mislaid the instructions again, but yeah. So the first time it pumped the fuel through, no problem whatsoever. Checked for leaks, no leaks. Slowed itself down, kicked straight back in and tried again, and it appears to have ignited. Clean burn. So let's just go and have a little look in the garage now and see how it's doing. So before we do, I've just left this barrel sitting here, and I decided that what I would do as a final on top, and I'm just going to be patient, is I would put the fire cement round as well on top of the epoxy resin, just to try and get a really good watertight seal, but more importantly, because this is fire retardant, around the area where the hose comes through, to try and protect this panel, because if this works, it'll stay in place. And so we're just leaving that to cure off, and I've done exactly the same on the inside. And we've just got this piece of wood propping it and holding it in place till it sets, and then we can test that. Right, let's go in here and have a little look. So here we have it set up as test. We've got the cover off because we just want to test it, and I know the light's behind us, so it's probably not going to good, but you can see the fuel going through there really nicely, and you can perhaps see the fuel coming down this line rather nicely all the way down. And I decided this had been damaged and it was bent, because in order to get the screwdriver through to tighten up the Jubilee clips, I had to pry this up and square it up, which did line it up on the back a bit better as well. So basically I didn't have to power it up twice. The remote was ready paired, so they obviously had tested this machine. Similar display panel as the last time, but what this one is, the power level on this one goes massively high. When the other one goes to 5, this one goes all the way up to 10, and it's supposed to be 8 kilowatt. And judging by the sound of that fan, there's every possibility it is. Let's just see how the battery's doing. Yeah, 11.6. And remember on the last video I said about these red lights, they didn't come on this one, it's literally climbed up there. So I'm pretty certain that other machine was faulty. I've got air coming out of all 4. Hot air coming out all 4 of these. I haven't cut these down yet, just because we're only test bedding this, but that is pumping out loads and loads and loads of lovely hot air. And what's more, this thing worked right out of the box, just like the last one. Long may it continue. Am I happy with this design? Excuse me, absolutely. It's got so many nice little features to this one that if I was to purchase another one, it would be one of these. So yeah, we may need one, although we can, I'm going to make this one so it is removable off this shelf. And if the heated barrel is a success, we can replicate this in the greenhouse in winter. Right, so yeah, I'm very happy this diesel heater works, or at least it appears to. No issues with it. It fired up first time out the box. It's behaving as it should. We've got all of these. And just another reminder, guys, I have a carbon monoxide monitor here, reading 0 and monitoring any carbon monoxide that may be in here, which there doesn't appear to be, but never take it for granted. Always use a carbon monoxide monitor if you burn fuels. Goes without saying, I'm a happy chappy. Right, I've just come over for a cup of coffee again, then I'm going down home. You can probably hear the diesel heaters going full tilt again. It's just me. You probably don't need to do this, but I do it. I'm bringing it back up to full temperature, and that gets the chamber as hot as it can be. And that's basically my theory around that, is it will clean the chamber out and burn off all fuel on the cooling down cycle. You may or may not need to do this, but I do it with this one, and I've never had an issue with it, touch wood. So right, yeah, so we've had 17 hours of heat out of this thing on low setting, but bear in mind each of the startups to get the room to temperature, and then full power again now for 5 or 10 minutes, which does consume a fair bit of diesel. Still not drastic, but it consumes more. Alright, so if you take that out of the equation and you were running this constantly, you get that little bit more. So whatever our hours end up as, but I'm thinking we're looking at about 35 hours on a tank of fuel. So on a positive note, again, I've just potted today and I've really enjoyed it. The other diesel heater went back, we got the new one, it done what it was supposed to do. It came out of the box on the bench, plugged in, fuel in, and it run, and it worked as it should. No smoking, no nothing, it just worked first time. We left it running 45 minutes just on full crank, just to see how it performed, and it performed extremely well. And then I ran it down. So yeah, its initial test, it's a worker. Hopefully it'll be like this one, and every time I go to it and turn it on, it will just work. I really like the design on that one. I like the ease of access to get into it, to maintain it, change parts if you're required or you need to. And it appears it already had them on. Bonus, I think that one was £179. It was £20 dearer than the other one. So they've doubled in price since last year, when you consider this was 85. But I still think they're worth every penny. And the only reason they've gone to that price is, well, one, everything has gone up, and two, importation tax, because as you know, the Chinese diesel heaters, they've got to be imported, and the importation costs have gone up. And not only that, because people are actually heating their house with these things, they've seen the value of them, and now they've just cranked the price right up. So if you're thinking about getting one, I suggest you get one now before they go any higher. I can't see them coming back down in price. Right, wherever you are in the world, guys, please stay safe, be practical, and keep yourselves out of harm's way. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.